Sooner Nation, Longhorn fans, welcome to episode 129 of the Bevo Podcast, the only podcast exclusively dedicated to covering the greatest rivalry in college football, the University of Texas and the University of Oklahoma. I'm here with my man, Kevin Miller. I am John Whitson. Kevin, this was supposed to be the episode where we talked about the University of Texas having the signature win of the college football season so far. This was supposed to be the episode where we talked about the cold, calculating efficiency of one Quinn Ewers, called by Steve Sarkisian in the Big House, dissecting the defending national champion defense in their own home. This was supposed to be about Texas making the case that potentially they are the number one team in the country, which I do not think is a stretch after what I saw yesterday. Unfortunately, Kevin, for you and every Texas fan, it was upended by one of the most pathetic performances I have ever seen at the University of Oklahoma. And I have seen some bad football at the University of Oklahoma in my time. I've seen some good ones, but I've seen some really bad ones. Kevin, the ineptitude of our offense against the University of Houston at home was tragic, was insane, and was a level of bad that I don't know if I can put my arms around. At one point in the second half, my wife dared to text me, "How are you doing?" And I said a laughing face, and she goes, "Oh, thank God you're laughing." And I said, "There's nothing else I can do. There's nothing else to do." If I tried to break down what I saw, it's either laugh or cry. Because we pushed out Dylan Gabriel, who had their own problems at Boise State, which we'll talk about, in favor of Jackson freaking Arnold. Through 2 games, that is the absolute wrong decision. This defense is dynamic. This defense is electric. This defense is stout. But my God, when it's 15 to 45 minutes, we got a 45-minute to 15-minute disparity in time of possession. A defense can only hold up so long. If it wasn't for a muff punt call that I'm not sure was a muff punt, especially on replay, Oklahoma loses to Houston at home. Kevin, you watched your team dominate. You watched your team execute and play with speed and play in space. And it looked very easy against Michigan, especially in the first half. It looked easy. And then you saw, with your beautiful wife, Casey, I'm sure y'all watched it together, one of the worst displays of football you've ever seen. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, I think you're right. All your concern is completely justified. That was rough, man. It was rough. Everything about it was. The running game was inconsistent. The passing game was inconsistent. Everything. It was just how about non-existent?
Non-existent. It was abysmal. It was the worst thing. Listen, dude, what did I talk about last week? I said, give the ball to Taylor Tatum. You know what he averaged? He averaged 8 yards a carry yesterday. Do you know why he averaged 8 yards a carry yesterday?
Is it because they only have 1 carry for 8 yards?
They only had 1 carry. What?
6 yards, by the way.
Even worse. Thank you. 6 yards. Thank you, Kevin. I don't know what to tell you, dude. We keep running. It just. Listen. I know we've got some offensive line issues. I know we have guys hurt. I think the bigger issue is probably at receiver. That was probably our deepest position heading into the season. I thought we were going to have potentially the best receiving core in the SEC. I really believe that. You're down Nick Anderson, Jaden Gibson, Jaleel Farouk, and Angelo Anthony. those 4 dudes, any of those 4 dudes, well, when healthy, let me say when healthy, probably started every school in the SEC. Maybe not Jalil Farouk, but maybe at least half of them. And we're down all those. I get that. An offensive line, I guess I get it. But hell, you knew it was going to be an issue. Like, you got to make some adjustments and figure out what's going on. And am I calling for Jackson Arnold's head? Am I calling for Michael Hawkins to go in the game? I don't even know. The people that are saying put Michael Hawkins, we don't know that it's going to be any better. Number one, we don't know that it's Jackson Arnold's fault. But at the same time, I'm saying it can't be worse. Kevin, in the fourth quarter, we are up 2, and it is 3rd and 6. And we run a quarterback draw in the fourth quarter at home against Houston, up to a quarterback draw with the intention of setting up a field goal that we subsequently miss. What in the hell is happening at the University of Oklahoma that the best option you have on 3rd and 6, not deep in your opponent's territory, but in your opponent's territory, 3rd and 6, the best option you have is to play for a field goal? I'm losing my damn mind, Kevin. I don't even know what to.
The play calling was, everything about the offensive performance was weird. Like you said, you come out to start the game, you go 3 and out, punt the ball.
Did you think he muffed it? Did you think he touched the ball?
No. I took a weird bounce. I'm really surprised the ref called it. I think the way the ball hit and the way it bounced at that angle, I think that's what made the ref think that it was touched. Because it took a weird roll, but
you had an OU player right there not even go to the ball.
No. He
didn't even go to the ball.
Yeah, and the returner didn't either. And the returner would have, if he would have touched that, he would have been so nervous about turning it over, he would have sprinted towards the ball.
I was at the other end, so I couldn't really tell. I mean, you couldn't tell it live. I was in section 33, which was catty corner to the play, right? So, but on replay, when they showed the replay and they were doing the review, I'm thinking to myself, well, I guess if they would have called it as just if they wouldn't have called it on the field, I don't think they'd have been able to reverse it, right? If they would have said he didn't touch it. So I guess maybe there wasn't enough evidence to refute it, but the first replay I saw when I got home last night and again this morning says, I'm like 90% sure he didn't touch that ball. Yeah. And without that, Kevin, that was one play that ended up in a one-play touchdown. They had one other scoring drive. Scoring drive.
Yeah. And that safety, I didn't think that was a safety either at the end.
No. Again, on the other side of me, but even on replay, I'm like, they never call that as a safety.
No, they never call that a safety. I mean, we were watching it, myself, my wife, and her brother, and, everyone's cheering. I was like, that's not a safety. Like, just calm, that's not a safety, though. The ball was out, and he got hit backwards.
And then the coup de grace to just top it off, to just top the cherry off of the cake or whatever euphemism you want to use. We get the safety. We get the ball. We're going to try to run the clock out. We actually kind of went aggressive and picked up a first down. So you're like, oh, okay. We make them use all 3 timeouts. At worst, there's going to be like 3 seconds left, and we're going to either have to punt or run around in the backfield and, take a knee or whatever, right? Like, that's the worst scenario that's going to happen. And we lose our cool, rip our helmet off, 15-yard penalty, and we punt. And look, dude, we're literally saying that Houston has a chance of winning the game, and you put I'm in a shock. I'm at a loss.
First of all, with that play, let me just talk about that play real quick. Jackson Arnold, just take a knee, man. He gets the ball. He's standing. The pressure's starting to get there. That's why he got hit.
Yes.
It wasn't a dirty play.
No.
He wasn't down when he got hit. So the offensive line, I get you got to protect your quarterback. But the quarterback, just take a knee. There's no holding it for 3 seconds.
Okay, look.
Snap, get the snap and go down.
I love protecting your quarterback in the second quarter. I love it.
Yeah.
They do something that, they take a cheap shot. You come in, penalty, whatever. Second quarter, you're setting the tone. Hey, don't mess with my guy. I'm going to knock the crap out of you. You got to, dude, it's the last play of the game. You shouldn't be in a position anyway, but keep your freaking helmet on, bro.
Keep your helmet on. Yeah. Even if you're mad, I can get mad. I can get yelling.
I'm just saying.
The refs were fine with it until he ripped his helmet off.
Even
the shoving, right. The refs were okay with it.
Yeah, because the refs do not want to call a penalty in that situation.
No.
They do not want to be they really don't. And they were Big 12 refs and whatever. They don't want to do it. Kevin, we went a lot talking about OU, and we're going to talk a lot more because I got all the numbers and stuff. But I do want to give you a chance to talk a little bit about the Texas game before we go our weekly recap. Texas looked good, bro. You have to be feeling very, very good about their performance in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, I really am, man. I mean, it was a game that we thought they should win. I just didn't think they'd win it like that it would look that easy, that they would dominate a very physical Michigan team. I think what impressed me most is we know what Michigan is known for being dominant in the trenches. And we dominated them on both sides of the line of scrimmage. We pushed that defensive line around. We talked about those two defensive tackles and their edge, who are NFL guys. And if you wouldn't have known any better, if you were just watching that game, you would not have known they had two NFL prospects at defensive tackle. I mean, they were complete non-factors. I think Mason Graham finished with 2 tackles. And Kenneth Grant, I don't even know if he's even on the stat sheet. That's how dominant they were.
Quinn didn't get sacked, did he?
No.
He didn't look like he was under duress at all.
No, he was so, and when he did, and they only got pressure when they blitzed, because they do a lot of exotic blitzes. And when they got pressure, I mean, he was so cool in the pocket. Everything we talked about before the season that I was hoping he would improve on, we saw that yesterday. Because remember, he would bail in the pocket too soon. He would go side to side, which would automatically break down the play. But this time, he's stepping around and stepping up. And that's a sign of an experienced quarterback, guy who's in his third year in the system. Talked about Dylan Gabriel in the Red River Shootout last year and some of those last drives. We're getting pressure right up the middle. He was able to sidestep the pressure, step up, and make throws. That's what we saw from Quinn Ewers yesterday. And it's just an experience thing.
You know what I saw from Sark yesterday, which was completely absent in OU. And here's the deal. We're going to talk about Seth Luttrell and Joe John. But Sark just got him so many easy throws. So many easy throws. To running backs out of the backfield, to receivers. Gunnar Helm had a great game. We're going to talk about Gunnar Helm. If you're not excited about that tight end right now, if you're a Texas fan, I don't even know what you're talking about. That dude played great. But it allows a quarterback just to get into a rhythm, start to feel himself a little bit. You confidence builders. And then when you have to make the hard throw, you're not pressing. Jackson Arnold seemed to be pressing on every single throw he made. And some will say, well, he doesn't trust his offensive line. His receivers weren't getting space, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but Quinn wasn't throwing the hardest passes in the world. This wasn't, and it might have been a very intricate offense, but it sure looked simple. It sure looked easy. And against a defense like Michigan, you can't tell me Houston's defense is better than Michigan's.
No,
you just can't tell me that.
No, because it wouldn't be true. And the thing about Sark, clearly the game plan was like, okay, we know you guys are big and strong up the middle, but we're going to test you on the outside. Can you run with our guys in space? Can your linebackers cover our running backs? Can you cover our tight end? Yeah.
No.
Right.
The answer was no.
And the biggest factor for me was how good Texas was on third down, especially to start the game. 3 conversions on the first drive against that defense.
When Bert Auburn missed a field goal, I thought, well, maybe there's a chance. I thought maybe this isn't Texas's day. And then
I hated that holding call, by the way. I think Cam Williams
that quickly faded.
Was in a good position. Yeah. The game, I mean, it was never close. I mean, from that point on, once Texas got to 17, we talked about this in a preview episode. If they got up by 2 scores, Michigan's not built to come back from that. There was no way.
Kevin, let's run through the week 2 recap before we go back down into meltdown mode on Oklahoma's offense. You went You went 3-2 with your picks. I went 2-3. The one that screwed me, as they so often do, was the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Arkansas had every opportunity to win that game. I don't think there's a coach in America who benefits more from other teams' stupidity than Mike Gundy. And I'm not even saying he takes advantage of their stupidity. He just simply benefits from their stupidity. They should have won that game going away. They were bigger, stronger, faster, and it was just insane that Oklahoma State was even in that game. And then to lose in overtime, double overtime for that matter. And, of course, OSU goes for 2, which means they win by 8 and cover the 7.5 to give you the win. Thanks a lot, Oklahoma State.
Well,
Mike Gundy, you suck.
In Oklahoma State's defense, the college football rules now for overtime. Once you get to the second overtime, you have to go for 2.
Kevin, I don't care. So stop.
So
You're always defending Mike Gundy. You always defend Mike Gundy, and I don't need it today, dude. I don't need you raining on my pity parade. All right.
Hey, man, look, Gundy, I've seen this. All right, you guys haven't had to deal with him. You guys own Oklahoma State, right? 648 total yards for Arkansas compared to 385 for Oklahoma State.
Yes.
416 passing yards, 232 rushing yards. And they shut down Ollie Gordon.
Yes.
Ollie Gordon, 1 second here. Ollie Gordon, 17 carries for 49 yards, 2.9 per carry. He had 2 catches for 20 yards. They shut him down, and they still.
How does Oklahoma State win? And Oklahoma State got a fumble return called back. They, which I thought was a little sketchy there at the end of the first half. I was like, I think that ball was out. And they gave the benefit to Arkansas. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe this is an Oklahoma State day. Of course it is.
Yeah.
The same thing happened last year against BYU. BYU had game 1. And that would have put Oklahoma into the Big 12 championship game, which we'd probably lose, just with my attitude today. But no, they just okay, whatever. I can't talk about Oklahoma State anymore. Here's the game that scares us. Well, there's two games that scare the crap out of me. But of the games we picked, okay, Tennessee, my God, they rolled NC State. We have them in 2 weeks, and Kevin, I'm scared to death, dude. Like, I don't want any part of Tennessee. Are you telling me Josh Heupel hasn't had this game circled for the entirety since he got fired by Bob Stoops? He is going to unleash holy hell on Oklahoma. And I just pray to God that Billy Bowman and Danny Stutzman can hold up to the 50 minutes of possession that Tennessee is going to have in this game in 2 weeks. Dude, they beat down NC State, and it wasn't close.
No, I mean, 51-10 against what we feel like is a quality, at least a decent NC State team.
Well, they're ranked. They're ranked.
Right.
I don't know how
they did struggle. They struggled in their first game.
Yeah, I don't know how good they are.
Yeah,
but
51-10. And the 31-7 outscoring them in the second half.
Those were both wins for both of us. We knew they were going to win. I wasn't sure they were going to win by that much. Your boy Shadur Sanders. Walk me through your thoughts when he's getting his ass kicked and he leaves the field and goes into the tunnel with 3 minutes to go in the game.
You know,
you good with that?
I think that's a good look? I don't like that. No, I don't think it's a good look. I didn't see it. Right. So was he hurt? I mean,
no, he wasn't hurt. No, he wasn't hurt. You know what he's hurt with? Loser's limp. That's what he's hurt with because he got his ass kicked by Nebraska.
Well, is it loser's limp? I mean,
well, I don't think he was hurt.
Their offensive line is horrible. Okay, I didn't see it. So if he just walked off and he wasn't injured, not a good look for sure. Clearly not a good look.
Trust me, it's not a good look. It looked bad. Yeah. You go across the field, you shake Dylan Raiola's hand, and you go to the freaking tunnel. That's what people do. Listen, correct. I made fun of Caleb Williams for jumping in his mom's arms and crying like a little baby, but at least he was out on the field. That. If my daughter did that, if she doesn't get in the handshake line, I'm pissed at her. Like, get your butt up and go shake hands. Like, what are we doing? Yeah. Is it always necessary? I don't know, but it's American culture to go congratulate somebody on a win, hard-fought win. He walked off like a baby, and I don't like it. It's interesting. People, and here's the problem with Prime and his kids, is they love to dish it out. And you never see anybody happier when they're winning than those two, you know? But, man, any adversity, and it's everybody else's fault. And that's just not cool. It's not cool. Hey, when he threw the ball to the flat in Nebraska, one of the worst pick sixes you'll see, dude, that's on him. Offensive line or not, you don't make that pass.
Yeah, and I think the thing with him, and I love his talent, right? I think he's still going to be a first-round pick. However, first of all, this offensive line, they have one of the worst offensive lines I've seen in a long time at this level.
Worse than ours?
Yes. Because they can't run or pass protect. Your pass protection was actually pretty solid last night.
I thought it was. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. I thought it was. Yep.
They can't do either. Most offensive lines that are considered bad, they're usually bad at one thing. It's like, okay, they can pass pro, but they can't open up big holes for the running backs.
Yep.
Or they can't, they can't protect, but they run the ball well. They can't do either. They can't run the ball, and they can't protect Shedeur Sanders. Dude's always running for his life. I do think he holds on to the ball for too long. Right? And that's something he'll have to work on. But yeah, and until they get that sorted out, which is clearly not going to happen this year, they're not going to be anywhere close to the team that they can be. Because their defense actually wasn't horrible yesterday.
They were fine. I mean, they were fine. 28-10. I got the win. You got the loss. And then, of course, we picked Texas. I thought Michigan would stand up. I mean, I told you I picked Texas to win, but I thought Michigan would stand up. They didn't do it. Good win by Texas, obviously. And then we both lost Oklahoma. Other games of note, all the other big boys won. Georgia won. Ohio State won. Bama won. Although that one was a little closer. Ole Miss won. But how about number 5 Notre Dame going down to Northern Illinois? Listen, we sat here last Sunday, after week 1 and said, look at their schedule. There's not another L on that schedule. Correct. Not pencil them in for the playoff. We didn't say pencil them in for the playoff. We said put it in Sharpie for the playoff.
Yeah, exactly. Put it in ink. And they screwed it up. This offense, man, it just looks like the same old Notre Dame offense that we've seen since Marcus Freeman has been there. They got to get this sorted out, man. Well, everything is set up for you.
Nobody feels they're paying more than OU fan right now. The only solace is we got to win. But yes, right. I mean, if Oklahoma played Notre Dame today, the score could be 6-3. And I'm not sure who wins.
Yeah, I mean, Riley Leonard for them, their quarterback, who was celebrated after the tough win that they had on the road at A&M.
I called it a Sam Ehlinger-like performance. You're never going to say he's Baker Mayfield, but he's going to be gritty and going to be a player. Dude, he didn't have it.
Yeah, 20 of 32 for 163 yards and 2 interceptions.
That's a shocking loss. It really, really is. It's a shocking loss. And it'll be interesting to see. I think Notre Dame can still recover looking at their schedule, but I'm not sure if they can recover if they can't put points on the board. Oregon almost lost. I mean, there's a big contingent of OU fans that are now saying, should we have kept Dylan Gabriel? Well, maybe, probably, based on the last 2 games, maybe even the bowl game, last 3 games. Maybe we should have made a bigger push. We hope we didn't process him out. Yet at the same time, Oregon, who we know is loaded with talent, we know has good defense, it took a last-second field goal for them to beat Boise State.
Yeah. Now, shout out to Boise State, though. Their running back, this kid is legit. 25 carries, 192 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
And that's against the Dan Lanning defense, dude. Right. So, again, that's not DG's fault that the other team's running back went for 192, but it just speaks – Dylan Gabriel just – I don't know. That was a weird one. If Oregon loses there, that is huge.
It's massive. Their offensive line is also struggling.
Oh, are they?
It doesn't look right. Yeah. It doesn't look great for them. I know Gabriel got sacked a few times in that first half.
Penn State really had no business beating Bowling Green. I thought Bowling Green was the better team, but Penn State held on 34-27. Missouri, big win. Utah over Baylor, 23-12. Sure does look like Utah's going to run the Big 12. Maybe with
real quick.
State.
Cam Rising got injured again.
Oh, geez. Did he really?
Hand injury this time. It was a hand injury, but he did not finish the game.
Throwing hand?
I'm not sure. I imagine so for him to miss the run. I mean, he was in street clothes for the second half of the game.
Oh, my God.
And they did not score after that point.
I was at the OU Student Union watching the game. but it was the far screen, so I couldn't tell who was playing quarterback. It didn't even dawn on me to pay attention. Do you know who they had at quarterback then, the rest of the game?
I'm not sure, no,
Yeah.
who they had at quarterback. I know that they did not score a point, though, after the Cam Rising injury.
Classic. Miami wins big. Here's the deal. This is the other game that worries me. We talked about Tennessee in 2 weeks. Screw Tennessee. How about Tulane? Tulane with a goal-to-go situation to have a chance to force overtime with K-State. I didn't look at the stats in this game, but it wouldn't surprise me if Tulane outgained Kansas State. Tulane could have, should have, maybe needed to win that ball game. If we play like we play, Tulane could beat us by 3 touchdowns. I am not overreacting. Tulane looked really good, especially in the first half against K-State. K-State's not a bad football team. Maybe they're not a good football team, but they're not bad. Can Oklahoma lose to Tulane next week?
It would.
Come on,
Your
dude.
defense is going to keep you in every game, but the problem is what's going to happen when you play an offense that can keep up, that can at least make a few big plays, that can score 27 against your defense. Are you guys going to be able to score that many points? 491 yards for Tulane, so they did outgain K-State 491 to 396.
This is what I'm saying.
342 yards passing, and then 149 yards rushing for the game wave.
And Houston actually looked good. We're going to talk about this. I thought this was a weird stat. I'll give you later. But Houston looked good throwing the ball. I mean, not great. We did shut them down.
They were efficient.
They were efficient, and we weren't getting – there was one bust. But my God, you're on the play for – I don't even know how to –
Yeah,
all
correct.
right.
You're going to bust one pretty much every game, right?
My girl Lana Turner's Illini upset Kansas 23-17. Arizona beats NAU. Iowa State with a big win against Iowa. Hey, that's gritty, 20-19. All Iowa State's points came in the second half. Good job to them. Louisville wins. Syracuse wins. Syracuse beats Georgia Tech. That didn't last long.
No, Kyle McCord, Ohio State transfer, looks amazing so far.
Is he at Syracuse?
Yeah, he's at Syracuse now. Left Ohio State, went to Syracuse. I know it's not customary for teams to transfer to a rival school, but I think he looked pretty good playing for Michigan right now.
Oh, yeah.
If he's playing, it's a whole different game yesterday instead of a guy like Davis Warren.
Clemson with the big win. A&M takes care of McNeese. Cal over Auburn. Not a great day for the SEC. Also ASU over Mississippi State. And then South Carolina beats down Kentucky 31-6.
That was surprising to me.
All the fans that were excited about Mark Stoops turning down or whatever with the A&M job, at this point might have wished he went to A&M, because you can't lose to South Carolina 31-6. That's bad football. That's bad.
Home.
It's bad.
It's not like they went down there because they have a great home atmosphere in South Carolina. No, it was in Lexington. Yeah, 31-6 at home to a conference opponent who's not Georgia or Tennessee or Alabama. Come on, can't happen.
To summarize the storylines from week 2, Texas makes a case to be the number 1 team in the nation, just based on their opponent and the way it looked. Notre Dame with the upset of the year so far, losing to Northern Illinois, and then a number of teams hanging on, a la OU, Penn State, K-State, Oregon. What did I miss for storylines week 2? Anything?
That's pretty much it. Alabama kind of has to. You look at 42-16, but they scored 28 in the fourth quarter. That was a ball game. They're actually up by 1 going into the fourth quarter. So that was absolutely a ball game after 3 quarters. So still a work in progress for their offense.
Kevin. Jackson Arnold went 19 of 32 for 174 yards, 5.4 yards of reception, 2 touchdowns, an interception, and a quarterback rating of 36.4. He just didn't look good. And people are putting it on the receiver. Now, again, I just mentioned 4 receivers that aren't playing. So if we're looking for excuses, I think that's at the top of the list. Okay? It is absolutely at the top of the list. And then offensive line. Okay, great. But it just he doesn't feel comfortable. He seems to be pressing. whether it's trust issues with the offensive line, trust issues with his receivers, whether it's because he's got the smallest receivers in the world with him right now. Deion Burks did have 9 catches for 53 yards. Jake Roberts at tight end had 3 for 51 and obviously a huge touchdown. Brennan Thompson, he had 2 catches for 43 yards and the touchdown, but other than that, non-existent, and then a couple other dudes. It just wasn't great. But more importantly than that, more anemic than that, was the run game. 28 carries by the team, 28 carries, 78 yards, 2.8 yards a carry. It's not going to get it done.
No, it's not, man.
It won't get it done against Tulane. We're not even talking about the SEC. I heard somebody say last night, dude, we're probably going to go 6-6. 6-6? Show me 4 more wins on our schedule with 2.8 yards a carry rushing.
And that's been what I imagine for Sooner fans, going to be the most disappointing part of this. Because, we talked about it before the season. The combination of a young quarterback and an inexperienced offensive line is concerning, but you would think they would lean on the running game. Because even with inexperienced offensive line, you can still run the ball, you would think. Right? Offensive linemen love to run the ball. They love to lean on guys, open up holes in the running game. And it's just not there. And heavy with Javonte Barnes yesterday. And I know you're up and down on him. It just didn't look right. There's just no rhythm there. There's no identity right now. And you've got to establish one, and you got to establish one quick.
Okay. Talent level against Temple. I had very good seats. We talked about this. I was on the end zone, like 3 rows up. The boys from Temple looked like a high school team. Looked like Bixby or any school from Texas is going to beat down. They looked every bit as small as a good high school team. Okay. Houston, conversely, dude, they had some big old dudes on their defensive line. Okay. I don't know what happened against UNLV. I maybe I should have watched that game a little more to see kind of what went behind the 27-7 loss. But as far as the defensive line looked, dude, they were big guys. And Houston has a fertile recruiting ground. We talked about this. And we also talked about how biggest improvements come from week 1 to week 2 in a lot of cases, especially under a new coach. We know Willie Fritz is a good coach. We know he probably had a good game plan for OU, all of those things. So the talent disparity, I don't think is as bad as maybe we feel because we just see Houston. I actually think they've got some dudes, okay? But we still need to be able to line up and run the ball. Like, if we can't, it doesn't matter. Like, those guys that they had, who I think look big and were strong and were fast, they're not starting for Tennessee, Missouri, LSU, Texas.
At best, rotational guys. Probably third-string guys at those schools.
And I
will play.
They'll play. I think they'll play.
Yeah. But they're not your frontline guys. You're going to face much better guys.
So I think, and now, are we down 2 offensive? Again, yes, all the excuses in the world, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When you have situations like this, you have to say, okay, what's going to work? Right? Like, let's make some adjustments. They never made adjustments. Seth Luttrell's play calling was so questionable. Do I want Jeff Lebby back? No, I don't want Jeff Lebby back. No, I don't think he was good enough. But I'm not saying fire Seth Luttrell. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying it just doesn't look good. Defensively, Stutzman, 15 tackles, 12 solo tackles. Grayson Halton, for the second week in the row, was outside of Stutzman, probably the player of the game. He was so disruptive. He got the safety, questionable, but still got it. Robert Spears-Jennings with the interception. Our corners looked a little vulnerable. Let me give you some stats here, okay? Donovan Smith went 24 for 28 for 260 yards, 9.3 yards a catch, a touchdown and an interception. They only rushed for 1.7 yards a carry. That's insane. So what I was noticing, though, is in 4 drives for Houston, they had like 3rd and 6 let's call it an average of 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. On 4 drives, they rushed the ball on 3rds and 6.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. Were they trying to win the game?
What
I don't know what their
analytics
game plan.
What analytics are they looking at? They've got a quarterback who's averaging very efficient at 24 of 28, averaging 9.3 yards per catch and averaging 1.7 yards rushing. And Houston tries to run the ball 4 times on 3rd and medium.
Yeah, I don't know what they were trying to do.
So you saw that too, right?
To win? Yeah, of course. And I think what confused me too is Donovan Smith is a good athlete. They never, not once did they try to use him running the football. There were no design runs.
No. Look,
he killed Texas at Texas Tech a few years. This is Sark's first year, but killed Texas and Lubbock with that stuff.
I think our defense did great. Okay, I think they were on the field. I don't know what the time of possession final numbers were.
It was 35 minutes to 20, basically 35:03, 24:57 for.
It felt like a whole lot more. It felt like a whole lot more.
10 minutes, man. Pretty much, it's a lot. It's a big difference.
Yeah, and the difference was even bigger up until the last 4-minute drive that they had. Like that last 4-minute drive was the only thing that got it within any kind of range. So the defense was on the field a lot. You're playing against an okay opponent, but you just kept getting put in situation after situation. I thought that the secondary coverage was, as you can see by these numbers, a little. We need to make some adjustments. Defensive line looked great. Linebackers looked fantastic. Like, I was very, very happy. Offensively, just a couple more stats. We had 250 Houston. We had 252 yards against Houston. Okay. In 2014, Josh Heupel got fired as the offensive coordinator at OU. They fired a national championship winning quarterback at Oklahoma in 2014, where his worst performances were 232 yards against Texas, 319 yards against Baylor, and 275 yards against Clemson in a bowl game. We had 252 yards against Houston. He had Trevor Knight as his quarterback. Like, that's shocking. The only other game of comparison, and this is no joke, I went back and looked at all these from this decade, is 2022 Texas, where it was 195 yards. Well, 2021 Baylor was 260 yards, but 2022 Texas with 195 yards total offense. And our quarterback was a tight end for half the game.
Yeah. Davis Bevo had Braden Willis running the Wildcat.
Against Texas, who didn't have a great year that year. Well, 8-4. They were 8-4 that year, whatever y'all were. I mean, it's just, I don't even know how to quantify it. Do I want, for all the people that say they want to see Michael Hawkins, I could argue that Jackson Arnold is not given the full complement. He doesn't have his offensive line, and he doesn't have the receivers. However, for all the people that say, I don't want to see Michael Hawkins, I would counter with, it can't be worse. It can't be worse. I'm not saying Michael Hawkins is the guy, but can we just throw somebody? I mean, what are we doing?
Now, are you ready to risk, if you were to do that, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't, but are you prepared for Jackson Arnold to walk? Because I think that's what happens if you put Michael Hawkins in the game. Jackson Arnold's gone.
What are we talking about?
I'm just saying. No. I mean, it's a legit question.
Are we talking about giving up 174 yards passing to Houston at home?
No, I mean, again, you could be right. I'm just saying.
We're talking about walking, looking at the. Here's the problem with college football, Kevin, is the rules have changed, right? These aren't just kids anymore. Everybody's getting a freaking contract. Everybody's got NIL money. Jackson Arnold is probably making close to the quarterback at OU between $750,000 and $1 million.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Starting quarterback at Oklahoma. I don't think
dude, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Hey, dude, you don't perform, get your butt off the field. Like I now again though, the argument and the other way is, yeah, but his offensive line sucks and he doesn't have any receivers to throw to. Okay, so putting Michael Hawkins doesn't do us any good. And if JFA is truly our best option, then by God, but I don't know, man. I'm just so confused by it, dude. 4 for 14 on third down. We have 4 in 2 games at home, lesser opponents. We have 4 third down conversions. 4.
Yeah, the third down was concerning. I mean, they went 4 or 15, but I mean, you expect them to go 4 or 15 because of the defense that Oklahoma plays. You guys going 4 or 14, yeah, extremely, extremely concerning at home. Like you said, against a lesser opponent. I think the only thing you guys have right now is just hope that when these receivers get back, everything will open up. But again, the receivers are going to be fine. Angelo Anthony comes back. Nick Anderson will be back soon. The offensive line would still be my main concern.
Yeah, I don't know if it's getting it. I don't know, man. I just, as you can tell, I've almost lost it. You know,
I just got a week to get it right. You're running out of time, but you've got this 2-lane. The performance has to be better because you can't be holding back for Tennessee. That stuff doesn't work.
I hope to God we're not holding back.
Yeah, that would be. Just
we damn near lost the game, Kevin.
Correct.
We damn near lost the game. We had one. It was 14-12.
Yeah, and again, that concern is when you play an offense that's competent. Because Houston, they were efficient.
It was 14-12, and I'm not sure that it was a muff punt. They don't muff that punt. It's not 14-12 at that point.
Yeah.
And nothing else indicates that we were ever going to score another touchdown. Nothing. People are going to say, "Oh, you fans overreacting." No.
Well, you guys do overreact, but you're not overreacting here. You guys always overreact. You guys are known for that because it's true, but not in this case. If this was Texas, I would be incredibly frustrated and very concerned going forward.
Well, good for you. It's not Texas. Brown O'Haver is our sponsor. Brown O'Haver works for the insured, not the insurance company. They're public adjusters, licensed by the state of Oklahoma and licensed in over 22 or 23 other different states. Wherever you are in the nation, but especially here in Oklahoma and Texas, Brown O'Haver can help you adjust claims for you, not the insurance company. Typically get clients 30 to 40% more. We're talking property insurance claims. Anything you have to file a claim on with your home or your business, or if you just have a question, give Brown O'Haver a call, 405-735-5510. Kevin, again, be happy you don't have the woes that Oklahoma fan has. In fact, I'm going to turn the floor over to you and let you break down the best win of the college football season by any team and what I think makes a really good case for Texas to be the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, man, just really impressed by the Longhorns. We knew this was going to be going into this big house against a very, very physical Michigan team. Called it a bit of a clash of styles. But, man, from the opening drive, it was clear that we were the more physical football team. And that's really the most impressive thing to me, that we went to Ann Arbor against a physical team and we pushed them around. We talked about those 2 defensive tackles, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant. I mean, they made 0 impact on the game yesterday. We were pushing them around inside with our offensive line. It was great to see from a Texas standpoint. Also, Quinn Ewers, right? Heavily criticized, and rightfully so, because he's not perfect and hasn't been perfect up to this point in his career. But this was the kind of performance that you would hope to get from a third-year quarterback against a good defense on the road. 24 of 36, 246 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But the most important thing for that, 0 turnovers. You asked me during the preview episode, what were the 3 things that had to go right? If Texas were to win this game, there'd be 3 things that they did well. And what I told you, number 1 was to stop the run. They had to stop Michigan's running game.
They averaged 3.7 yards per carry.
Yeah, 80 yards rushing for Michigan.
Mm-hmm. At home.
I don't have all their stats for last year. I don't know when the last time they rushed for 80
Less than 100.
yards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was number one. Number two was to protect Quinn Ewers. 0 sacks for Quinn Ewers. I mean, he
And
got
not a lot
sacked
of
against Colorado State.
and not a lot of hurries either.
No.
If that would have been played on real grass, it's not real grass, right? They play on turf, don't they?
Yeah, they play on turf there.
If they would have played on real grass, he wouldn't have had a grass stain on him. The icy whites would have stayed icy and white.
It was a really good performance by the offensive line. I was incredibly impressed by them. And also by Quinn Ewers, again, his pocket awareness. We talked about our criticisms, especially my criticism of him, is he would bail out of the pocket too early. He'd get a little bit jittery, start rolling out, which led to just the plays breaking down. He was really calm. He was patient in there, stepped up in the pocket. That touchdown he had to Gunnar Helm, the first touchdown of the game, again, steps up and puts it on the money. He was very accurate throwing the football. It was just an impressive performance from him. I think it was the best performance of his career. The Alabama game last year, he hit more big plays, big shots down the field. But I thought he was just more under control in this game and he just controlled everything. He looked calm, very poised, and nothing that they did got him off of that.
Here's the deal. I still don't think I'm not taking this isn't a criticism and it's not a shot. Okay. I want to be normally it is. This is not. I don't think Quinn is ever going to be Michael Penix Jr. like last year. He's never going to be a Jaden Daniels like last year, won the Heisman. Jalen Daniels, whatever. But I thought yesterday was one of the very first times where I thought he looks like a Georgia quarterback or an Alabama quarterback. Like, yeah. I am going to control the game. I don't have to do too much. I've got the more talented team. And as long as I do my job well, we're going to win the game. I mean, you could have told me this is Carson Beck's stat line, and it's exactly what it would be. You know, it's not going to be 44 or 50 for 500 yards and 8 touchdowns. You're never going to see that from Quinn. Or I say never. You're probably not going to see that from Quinn. But this stat, if he has this stat line in almost every game, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm not sure where the losses are going to come from.
Yeah. And, you know, we ran the ball well. You're not going to come out and maul.
Did you run the ball well?
143 yards against that defense. Listen, I would take 143 yards rushing. Yeah, I know Brian Wingo had that. But the game plan clearly was to get our athletes in space against their guys.
Okay.
And that's what we did. But we had to balance that by at least staying committed to the run. Okay. And we were able to move the ball. Now I'm not saying we mauled, we ran for 300. We were effective running the ball.
Listen, first of all, you had to keep running the ball. Okay, it reminded me of OU against Texas last year, where you're not picking up a lot of yardage, but you have to keep them honest. Outside of the Ryan Wingo 55-yard carry, that really skews your averages, though. Like, I don't know that I would say you had I would say you had an adequate game running.
Correct.
Because you don't have that 55-yard run. It was effective because it allowed you to control the passing game.
Correct. We passed to set up the run.
Is that fair? Is that fair to say?
Yeah. But we had that one drive where we ran it. We run it 3 or 4 times, 6 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards, right down the field, scoring in the red zone on a counter. Texas was horrible in the red zone. We couldn't punch it in against Rice last year in our first game of the year.
I did not watch. I watched the entire first half. I did not watch a lot of the second half because I was headed off to soccer. Thoughts on what happened in the second half? Did Sark take his foot off the gas? Did Michigan make some adjustments? Was it just a very safe game plan? What happened in the second half?
Yeah, it was just safe in the second half. They ran the ball a lot more than they threw it. I mean, I think Sark knew there's just no way that they were going to come back.
If you don't screw it up, If you don't
Correct.
have
Yeah.
turnovers, yeah.
And Quinn, that's why the 24-36 happened to me. If it's not there, just throw it away. There's no need to force anything. They were just in complete control of the game. Their running game, which we talked about, I mean, to shut that thing down. I mean, Donovan Edwards, 8 carries for 41 yards. Not a bad average, but
No.
it just never looked effective at all.
Dude, I texted you this during the game. This looks like Michigan teams from like 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, before they got really good, where they looked slow and they looked fat and slow. This looked like a fat and slow Michigan team. They just they had some big guys. They had size, but nobody, even though Will Johnson didn't stand out. Like I wasn't like awed. Oh my gosh, Will Johnson's so good at corner. And maybe you never saw him. Maybe Texas worked away from him, but nothing just stood out for me with Michigan. They just looked like a big, fat, slow team that got boat raced in the first half.
They've been the one outlier when it comes to recruiting leading to championships, because they have not been a dominant recruiting force.
Even with Harbaugh, even when Harbaugh was doing like the satellite camps in the South and stuff like that, they weren't able to.
No, they for that, I don't think they're usually in the top 10. And if they are in the top 10, they're closer to 10 than they are to 1 when it comes to that. They got to. I mean, I think I don't have their full roster in front of me, but Will Johnson is the only 5-star on their team that I can think of. I don't think any of those other guys on either side of the ball were 5 stars. JJ McCarthy was.
Yeah, I still think it's a credit. We talked about it in the lead up. Texas or Michigan maintained an identity for all those years, and they got really good at what they did. And they had it's like what they were building. They were building towards last year. It's another reason Harbaugh left. In addition to Connor Stallions, and he built. This was his job, to build to where you have the roster and the system. And when they combine roster, system, culture, they combine, and you get a season like you did last year for Michigan. They just lost so many players, and Harbaugh knew it. Everybody knew it. I mean, you got to think Ohio State rolls Michigan this year. Unless they're going to change quarterbacks. I mean,
that's the thing.
Quarterback wasn't worth a flip.
That's the thing, though. I don't think they've managed the roster very well, and I think Harbaugh has been publicly flirting with the NFL the last 2 or 3 seasons. Every year, his name will be cut. So I think that hindered their ability to recruit. They shouldn't be starting a former walk-on at quarterback. And then they got the Alex Orji kid. They don't even give him. He comes in, and he can't even read a zone read properly.
Yeah.
Right? He just knew it, and we just knew he was going to run it. Both times he was in there, he just ran it straight ahead and got stuffed.
I worry for Sharon Moore if he's going to be the victim of the guy that followed the guy. Right. If he's going to get 2 years at the helm of Michigan, but they're not really able to overcome, the shortfalls on the roster and the increased difficulty of the Big Ten. I
agree that the conference is completely different now. And Jim Harbaugh, he didn't have a chance to really get the roster the way he wanted to. Jim Harbaugh got hired by the Chargers on January 24th. That is not a lot of time for a new head coach to put a roster together. The portal is closed. It's you have the spring portal, but all the best players are in the portal immediately after the season. That's when they needed to retool their roster. January 20th, that just does not give you. That's when Harbaugh left. I don't even know when they actually hired Sharon Moore to be the head coach.
Well, he still doesn't have a contract,
which is bizarre. That's
he's working under no contract, which you don't want to go lose to Texas 34-12 or 31-12 without a contract.
Correct. Yeah, he's in an unfair position.
I'm serious.
I don't like.
I'm serious. It's almost like I don't think this happened. I'm not trying to make a take, but you wonder, did Michigan Michigan, athletic department and i.e. boosters say, let's see how he does against Texas before we sign this guy up to a big contract.
Yeah. You never know. But yeah, for him to be working this long, I think he got hired at the end of January
Yeah.
without a
Well, I mean,
contract.
he's been the head coach since Harbaugh left.
Yes.
Whatever
Yes.
the title was. He ran
Right.
spring ball, whatever. People I don't feel bad about is Michigan football. They'll get over it. They got national championship t-shirts. Let me ask you this final question about Texas. Let's take this back to Texas. Are they two questions, same theme. Are they the number one team in college football? Will the polls reflect that?
I don't think so. I think we'll be ranked number 2. I think
Okay,
it's
but what
still.
was the answer to the first one?
Are they the
Are
number
they
one team in the
are
country?
they the best team in the country right now?
I don't know, man. It's hard for me to say that just because it's so early. I mean, I think this is the best win that we've seen
Yeah.
out of anybody facing Michigan on the road. And we don't know how good Michigan's going to end up, but I still think they can be a really good team. They just got to get this quarterback thing figured out. Davis Warren did some decent things towards the end of it was garbage time, right? But whatever you can do to build your confidence up. Sometimes making plays in garbage time can build up a quarterback's confidence, especially one that has zero experience. This guy, he had the cancer survivor, leukemia, in high school. So he hardly even played in high school. That's why he was a walk-on at Michigan. He just hasn't played a lot of football. So I think he can get better, but that offense, it's a bad situation all around because of the roster. The roster wasn't elite coming into this season. Again, so when you have a new offensive line, kind of we talked about with OU, it's the same deal. You have a very inexperienced offensive line to go along with an inexperienced quarterback. That can lead to a very rough start to the season.
Texas sucks. I hate Texas. The sight of Bert Auburn's hair makes me physically nauseous. Okay. Quinn Ewers' shaved head makes me want to pop him in the face. Like, I cannot stand Texas.
More than the mullet?
I am happy that Sark is getting divorced. She does not deserve him. And yet, I am willing to say on September 8th that they are the best team in college football right now. They're the best
It
team in
was a
college
good
football right now.
performance, man. And also, we had the best tight end on the field.
I mean, if Georgia is next week, in Texas, in Austin, Texas is favored.
I'm not
Texas is
arguing
favored.
with that. I'm not arguing with that at all.
Congratulations, good win. NFL, real quick, Chiefs, Ravens. I just want to recap this just really fast because we talked about it because we did our show on Wednesday, and then the game was Thursday night. Do I get credit for calling Lamar Jackson? Do I get any credit for that? Are you going to give it up?
You did say he does miss throws, and he did miss some throws. He did.
Dude, he was amazing. He was electric. He single-handedly kept them in the game. He didn't go down. He wasn't sliding. He was making spin moves. He put his shoulder down a couple times.
Which I hate, by the way. But
well, yeah, I'm not saying it's smart, but
yeah.
I do love a guy trying to win a ball game. Like, he was taking it personally. I had no intention of staying up for that game. Okay, I was tired. But every successive drive just kept getting more and more interesting. Right, the game just built to the point where they're goal to go with 15 seconds left, and you're thinking, my God, they're going to win this game. And the pass to Likely in the corner wasn't an easy pass, but I bet the top 8 quarterbacks in the league make that pass. I think.
Now, let me ask you this real quick. Is he one of those top 8? Are you saying
100%.
the other top 8? Okay, cool.
100%. Well, as a complete player.
The other guys, yeah.
As a complete player, he is. But as a thrower, let's just say as a pure passer, the top 8 guys make that pass, I think.
You would think so.
Then the one where he claims he wasn't throwing it to Zay Flowers, and maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was throwing it to the other receiver. I feel like most quarterbacks, and this one I'm going to put 18 of the 32 quarterbacks, hit Zay Flowers. If you know you got Zay Flowers, you're looking for Zay Flowers. The dude was wide open. Like,
I don't know about
he should be
18.
your number one
It was a
target.
bad miss. It was a bad miss.
Whether he was throwing him to or not, it doesn't matter. Zay Flowers should honestly, outside of, I mean, he's got a lot of targets, like Likely, Mark Andrews.
Likely was amazing.
Zay and Mark Andrews was nice and solid. Like, he gave a good tight end performance, but Likely is a stud. But Zay Flowers is a dude, like you know where Zay Flowers is supposed to be in the route tree, I guess is my point. And he just missed it. And then he comes back with just a tremendous throw that is missed by, a toenail. The catch that Likely made is over 2 dude. So my point is, like it was on Wednesday, Kevin, it is prolonged periods of brilliance mired with moments of mediocrity. And that's what you get out of Lamar Jackson. And I think if you're a Baltimore fan, I don't think you want anybody else, but it does frustrate you.
Better. Yeah.
But it does frustrate you, right? Is that okay to say?
Yeah, absolutely. It is okay to say that. It is.
We didn't even mention Xavier Worthy. How good did he look? Holy crap.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's great. And you can already see they're just going to get him the ball in space and let him. And we're going to see him on deeper routes, too. We just haven't seen that yet. But it is coming.
And wait till you get Hollywood Brown back with his speed.
Correct.
I mean, you said what over the
Rashee Rice over the middle.
Kansas City is back to being a plethora of riches on that side. I got to tell you what, I didn't even know the Eagles beat the Packers because A, I thought the game being played in Brazil was stupid, and B, it's on Peacock, and I just get mad every time it's on Peacock. I can't stand it. It's so frustrating in the world of the NFL.
It's funny. I was on the App Store just to update an app on my phone, and it said the number one app was Peacock, just for that.
Sure it is.
Just for that game.
Yeah.
It just shows you all the people who downloaded it just to watch the game and I don't know what the ratings are, but I'm sure it was still high because the NFL can be on at 2 a.m. and people would still watch it. It's insane the amount of people who watch the NFL.
It just makes me mad though. I just get frustrated with it. But the Eagles win. Congratulations, Jalen Hurts. Cowboys Browns today. Dude, your Cowboys, they're just such a weird-ass team. But I just hope they beat the Browns to death. I cannot stand Deshaun Watson. That whole storyline.
Man. Whatever he is, even if he's guilty of a crime or not, he's a weirdo.
He's a weirdo.
Yeah.
He's a weirdo. And I don't know. The Cowboys will probably lose. Whatever. Tom
Brady in the call, by the way.
Oh, that's going to be so fun. That's the afternoon game, right?
It is on Fox.
We get Baker against the Commanders. I hope Baker has a good year. He's got a lot of buzz right now. And then the Sunday night game, Rams-Lions.
That's so much fun.
I think you're looking at, two really, really, really good football teams.
Agree.
You know how I feel about the Lions. I love what Dan Campbell's about. You got Jordan Whittington on the other side now to root for with the Rams. Any other thoughts on NFL? I know that you're a big NFL guy. You got your Sunday ticket. You're ready to roll. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Lions just as a team. And if you told me that they were the favorite to win the NFC, I wouldn't argue with you. If you picked them to go to the Super Bowl, I would have zero argument for that at all.
Who else would you put there?
Well, I mean,
the Rams.
The Rams are going to be a threat for sure.
Somebody has to win. Somebody has to win the East.
The 49ers, we'll see. There's some interesting vibes with them. Yeah. Obviously, they were there last year. Nobody from the South. I don't think Green Bay is going to be. Jordan Love got injured at the end of that game against Philadelphia. He's going to be out. It looks like 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, knee injury, MCL sprain.
That's not good.
And the Cowboys, who knows what you're going to get from the Cowboys. The Eagles look good offensively. The defense didn't look great against Green Bay. So it's wide open in the NFC, and I think Detroit can take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I like Detroit. And then, I think you got to like the Chiefs in the AFC. Until something changes, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what Buffalo does. Baltimore's going to be a threat. Cincinnati will be a threat as long as Joe Burrow's healthy.
Dude, I'm so sick of Joe Burrow's hair, bro.
Yeah.
Stop. That's funny. Like, it's funny once, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you dyed your hair, you lost a bet or whatever, or you did it for your daughter, or, you know, whatever. I don't know if he has kids, but I get it. Yeah, people do stupid stuff with their hair, but like, stop. Let's go back to like regular hair. Am I wrong? Is that just the old man in me?
I don't think so. You know,
It's stupid,
like
right?
when you was with them, like get rid of that thing. Like it was funny at
We
first.
didn't talk Caleb Williams. Who the Bears play today?
Let's see. Tennessee. They're at home.
Oh, they could beat
I don't know
Tennessee.
what to expect. Yeah, I think so too. I don't know what to expect out of Tennessee. Also, we see
still-
Bijan Robinson to play against Pittsburgh.
They still have Will Levis. Is that who their quarterback
Yes.
is? And no Derrick Henry for the first time in forever.
No Derrick Henry, which is crazy.
I didn't think the Ravens used him very good. I think you have to. He's kind of like Adrian Peterson. He's just one of those old school backs that you almost have to be under center, right? He's got to get a full head of steam.
Yeah, I mean they did a lot of the pistol with him, which is kind of in between the shotgun.
Yeah.
He still gets to come downhill, but you're not the full 8 yards back like Adrian Peterson liked to be.
Oh, dude, Adrian.
By the time he got the ball, he already had a full head of steam. He's up there on the top guys I would not want to tackle in the history of the running back position. He's up there. Him and Earl Campbell.
Who? Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
And
Adrian Peterson too.
And Eddie George.
Yeah.
Eddie George always reminded me of Earl Campbell, just the big legs and the whole thing.
Yeah. With Adrian Peterson, like he would 8 yards back, and I mean he would just be shot out of a cannon by the time he got the football.
Yeah.
He's already at almost full speed.
I'll never forget the 2013 Sugar Bowl against Alabama, the one Trevor Knight won.
Yes.
That was a true freshman, Derrick Henry on that team. And I've never to this day understood why Nick Saban went away from Derrick Henry. If he gave Derrick Henry the ball,
that long touchdown against you guys, just like, what is this? Dude, this guy is 6'3", 240 pounds, and is pulling away from everybody.
There was nobody on OU's team stopping him that day.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, he won a Heisman. Nobody's stopping Derrick Henry. He was fantastic. And I just was thinking to myself, what are you doing? Like, if they run the ball, if they give the ball to that guy, was Mark Ingram the other guy? They didn't have Mark Ingram then.
No, Ingram was gone. Was it maybe Eddie Lacy? Does it have Eddie Lacy?
Maybe Eddie Lacy, but Derrick, dude, if they'd have given the ball to Derrick Henry, it would have been a different outcome in that Sugar Bowl, but they didn't. So coaches sometimes outthink themselves. I don't think OU coaches are. I do not think OU coaches are outthinking themselves. I think they are.
Jay Yeldon, by the way, the other running back for Alabama.
Yeah, he was okay. He's pretty good, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was good.
I don't know. Texas, Texas, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep getting better, keep improving, but you're fine.
UTSA next.
Yeah, that's fine.
For Texas. You guys have Tulane.
You'll see Arch in the second half. We see a really good Tulane team coming to Norman. We're going to preview it Wednesday or Thursday whenever we do our preview cast. But Kevin, you're a dispassionate observer of OU. Is there any changes that could be made that have a positive effect before next Saturday?
I'd like to see more of Taylor Tatum. He just looks more explosive.
Yes.
The only reason I could think of him not being out there more is they don't trust him in pass pro.
Who cares?
Because the pass pro is the offensive line with having their issues. Even though I think the pass pro was much better against Houston than it was against Temple. That could be the only reason. Put him out there, man. Anything you can do to generate explosive plays, you got to use it.
What? We got a little time here. We're just a little over, but that's fine. This is an important question. Tactically, because I agree with you, right? That goes back to Lincoln Riley. That goes back to, really, it's any offensive coordinator in college. They're always worried about the pass protection of a young running back. And if you can't block, you can't play. Blah blah blah. Great, I get it. That's fine. However, you're leaving your best ball carrier off the field. So I guess in the sense that you sub all the time anyway, in not natural passing downs, right? So 1st and 10, 2nd and 6. What does it hurt to have Taylor Tatum back there?
I completely agree.
Now, hey, if you're telling me on 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 8 is when we need to bring Javonte Barnes in, well, 100%. Okay, that makes sense to me. I get that. That's it's the same thing that Kansas City's doing with Samaje Perine. They're saying Pacheco's a tremendous back. By the way, he had a good game, didn't he? That guy, I don't think his legs ever stop. I don't think his legs ever stop moving. But they bring in Samaje Perine because he's a great. He picks up the listen.
Yeah.
He is. You know what's amazing about Samaje Perine is he is the all-time single game record holder in rushing, and might be the best third down back in the league from the standpoint of picking up blocks. He is so disciplined and does the little things. It has kept him in the league so long.
That's why he still gets a check.
I think it's like 1.3. Kansas City. Hey, whatever, dude. Get paid as long as you can.
Yeah.
Back to OU though.
Better that than get a real job.
And he's vested now. He's vested in the NFLPA.
Right.
So that's like the biggest hurdle, especially for running backs, is getting vested. Because now he's got, I think, lifetime life insurance for him and his family. I mean, that is huge.
Right, it's a big deal.
Okay. Anyway, back to OU. I hear you on the pass protection, but whatever. Like, let's run the damn ball. Yeah. Put your best ball carrier in there. Give him the ball. Go try to get some yards.
And scheme open Deion Burks in space. Scheme him open in space. Put him against linebacker or safety. Tackle me in open space.
I'm not an offensive coordinator. Seth Luttrell, I don't care what you do. Joe John, I'm just a fan that wants Oklahoma to do well. So whatever. Fire him, don't fire. I don't care. That's not the point. And I'm not telling you how to do your job. I'm observing things that have worked for OU in the past and question why they don't get used, which I think we're allowed to do as fans.
Absolutely.
Okay? Everybody makes a crap ton of money. We're allowed to call into account, why aren't you doing something that has worked in the past? Oklahoma has been so good over the years with the bubble pass to the receiver with a blocker in front of him. So good over the years. Quick snap, hit it, Deion Burks with a lead blocker, let him go make a man miss. At worst, it used to pick us up a guaranteed 6 yards. When we had trouble with the running game, that's what we would do, right? We would get short passes out, get rhythm, let him go make a miss. I don't know if that's a tenet of Seth Luttrell's offense or not, but holy crap, maybe it should be, because I haven't seen that in 2 games. What used to be a bread and butter play for Oklahoma, which is set height, take the ball out of the shotgun, hit the quick hitch, the guy gets it, and he's got a blocker, and he gets 4, 5, 6, 7 yards. If he doesn't break it.
Correct.
And it's like
Texas beat Michigan doing that yesterday.
Yes, thank you.
It's not hard. Our guys are better than your guys.
We're talking about what do we have? What do we have right now? We have pass pro problems, right? We have offensive line that it's not setting stuff up. Look, maybe we get blown up on that play. Maybe we do. And if I saw it 5 times, if what Seth Luttrell would say to me is if I said, hey, dude, we're just buddies, me and Seth are buddies, and we're just having a beer, and he's like, John, I would love to run that play, but every time we run it in practice, we get lit up. Like, we get lit up. It's a terrible play. Like, I wish you knew how bad the play was, that I don't want to call it. I guess that's fine. At the same time, go ahead and let me see it a couple times. Let me see it a couple times.
Make my own judgment on that.
I'll decide, Seth, and then I'll text you and say you were right. Keep running jet sweeps with Deion Burks and getting his ass blown up for 2-yard losses. Dude, I thought I held it together pretty good, but I don't know if this has been enough time to get this crap off my chest. Kevin,
sounds like you're ready. You're already ready for next Saturday. You need next Saturday to be tomorrow.
I'm scared to death about next Saturday. I don't want next Saturday to ever happen. Okay? The anticipation enough has caused me to take.
You can't be scared of Tulane.
What? Kevin, I'm scared
Nervous,
to death.
scared. Tennessee?
Dude, here's the problem. Somebody on Twitter said, we can't beat Texas playing like this. Texas, What?
Yeah.
We can't beat Tulane,
bigger
Kevin.
concerns right now.
Texas. Oh my God.
Is Nick Anderson going to be back next week?
I don't
Is
know.
Andrew Anthony going to be back next week?
I don't know. God, I hope so. Because what I said just
right now
wasn't.
just is what it is.
It just is what it is. It just. Listen, we get Nick Anderson back, and you're able to throw that quick hitch to Deion Burks, and Nick Anderson can be your lead blocker. Like, let's go to work. There you go, Seth. I just fixed it for you. I just fixed your offense. Kevin, great show. Congratulations on your win. Great win for Texas. Oklahoma, wake the F up. Boomer!
Hook 'em.